now that introduction is over and we are actually talking about the interesting stories in the market, what more interesting story can happen other than Adani allegations and market falling and Adani stocks crashing, right? So today Adani stocks fell more than 20%. Some stocks actually hit even 25% lower circuits, right? So what do you think is even happening? Why are so many allegations are on Adani, and what is the current scenario right now?
So the current entire fall happened only because of one reason. It is a case has been filed in the US courts by a proper US government body saying that Adani has bribed Indian officials for a big solar project.
So this time it is not a private entity, it's like a government itself putting
Exactly.
allegations on Adani.
And
Yes.
US government putting an allegation that Adani bribed Indian officials
Yeah.
for something in India.
For 2,000 crores.
Oh
Okay,
my
and that's the highlight for me.
Right.
It's not the bribery, it's
Yeah.
2,000 crores bribery.
Yeah.
I mean, we have all paid bribes.
So why are they bribing? What's happening?
So what's happening here is that they want to set up a huge solar project in India, and the revenue or the profit they're projecting here is 16,000 crores over 2 years. Over 20 years, sorry. Yeah, 16,000 crores over 20 years. So for that, setting up and making sure the entire project goes smoothly.
And for that, they are paying 2,000 crore rupees of bribe. And
They
I
don't-
think that's not a bad deal.
That's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
16,000 crores projected profit, 2,000 crore bribe.
But the real question being, but why is US coming in between?
So I'll come to that.
Yeah.
So because the Adani has been trying to do a bond sale to US investors, the Securities and Exchanges Commission, which is SEC, got involved, and they are scrutinizing Adani like crazy. I know a lot of indirect other effects are also there, but primarily because of this bond sale, they are saying that Adani is trying to defraud US investors.
What
So-
is the size of this bond sale that they're trying to do?
So they're trying to do 600 million. So that will be nearly 5,000 crores is what they're trying to sell. In the US, they tried to do double that, I think 2 months ago. But now they're doing 5,000 crores.
Yeah, I think earlier also they did a $750 million some bond sale earlier.
Few years ago, I
few
think.
years ago, and they had some issues there as well, or some issue around that.
So at that time, the issue was being discussed, but SEC noted that it had some concerns. But then nothing went through. I think there is a huge impact of Hindenburg. We can't deny it. There is a huge impact of Hindenburg. Why SEC is being pushed to pursue Adani so strictly and monitor them so closely. They've actually caught SMS records of them bribing and planning to bribe officials. Guys, this is serious.
So actually this has to be pointed out. It is planning to bribe. I mean, still nobody knows that actual bribe has passed or happened, the transaction happened. It is still a kind of a speculation or...
No, still illegal. Planning to bribe is also illegal, and they have done that.
No, but what baffles me, I was just pulling up this data, and what baffles me is how Adani does not stop to amaze us with all these allegations and bribes and scams and whatnot, right from their existence or them coming into limelight from 1990s, 2000s. There was this diamond trading allegation in the early 2000s. Then in mid 2000s they had some land acquisition problems when they were trying to set up ports is something which is coming up here. 2010 is when the famous Australia, they were setting up these coal mines in Australia, and huge environmental concerns there, people were protesting.
That was 2010.
That was 2010, and this is an unending list. I don't think there is any merit in going into this. We should probably put this down in the description. But the point being, they have never stopped to be in the spotlight for doing the bad stuff. And again, the recent stuff like Hindenburg problems in 2023 and whatnot. So this is nothing new to them, is something that I really would love to point out.
But again, when some allegations is put out, people get worried because Adani stock will crash, and then that will have some reflection on Nifty.
Right.
And people, as an investor, people are panicked in both ways. As a Adani stock investors, people are worried, and also as a Nifty or Indian market investors, they are also
Nihal,
panicked.
so that's a very interesting thing, right? So this is something that some data crunching I did last time when Adani fell. Remember last time when the Hindenburg issue happened, Adani I think fell 75%.
75%.
So that is the time again when I went back and did some data crunching to make sure to understand what is the impact of Adani on Nifty. So actually we have Adani Enterprises and Adani Ports in Nifty, and actually their contribution to Nifty, the weightage in Nifty is only 3%.
Okay. So that means even if Nifty or even if Adani stocks crash to zero, Nifty will fall by only 3%.
Only 3%.
Okay.
So that narrative of Adani having a huge impact on Nifty from a pure understanding of its weightage in Nifty is very less. It's only 3%. But the other problem is when Adani does bad, all the banks and the related industries around Adani will also do bad. So it's a known thing that SBI has a lot of loans to Adani. Even today, when Adani fell 20-25%, we can see SBI is down by what? 2-3%, which is not bad, right? I mean, which is considerable. So point being, when Adani falls, there is a chance that SBI and some other large companies can also fall, and that is where, even though the weightage in Nifty is only 3%, but the impact could be slightly higher than that.
So I think this was the concern that was raised in 2020, I guess. So when people started concerns about Adani taking too much of debt to grow their business in multifold,
Right.
and when they foresee something and that not being happen, they won't be making money and they can't pay banks and banks can't recover something. And that's like a butterfly effect, and everything starts collapsing, and that will have a larger impact on India's economy.
Yeah, that's why it is said, even I said it in a video before, that Adani group of companies could maybe a ticking time bomb for the economy overall. You rightly said, Adani failing is not just Adani failing. It's the entire Indian economy could have some impact of that, yeah.
And the chain of reactions, that is the speculative side of it, that what happens if Adani fails, PSU banks fail, and that all of that side. But I think the question also comes down to, will Adani actually fail? Because now what we are seeing is that a lot of brokerage agencies, they're saying Adani is too risky and the bank should increase their interest rate and the lending rates to Adani. So when that happens, they can't grow any further and they'll find it harder and harder to utilize their working capital or get working capital for them. So then will we actually see Adani failing, or are they too big to fail? What do you guys think?
I mean, there have been some interesting stories. There were companies that had bad, problems with them, or being in allegations or being in this spot where Adani is right now. I think every other company, even it could be Reliance or Tata's, or all of them floated through their ups and downs in difficult times. So I feel Adani is big enough. Any big company can fail. We can't say that no big company will ever fail and we can trust them and they'll keep growing. But there will be entities, there will be governments backing very big companies. If they feel that if they fall, whole economy will fall, then they'll try to support that. Just what we've tried seeing in V story, right? So if they are collapsing, government chipping in and helping that. So all of those things can happen is what I believe.
I think Adani has slightly reached this territory of too big to fail, right? I mean, we saw what Modi tweeted and Trump tweeted when Trump came into power. So they're bros, they're friends now. So when the US is moving against Adani, who knows? Modi would have already made the call to protect or save Adani. So after a point, I think there is companies become too big to fail. Institutions become too big to fail. Like we saw, discussed, the ripple effect of Adani failing is not just Adani failing. So because of all of those things, I mean, government, people with vested interest, all of those could come in to save the company.
But again, here, the new bond that was issued was for Adani Green. And we all know that Trump is not a for the green energy or that side. So what do you think now?
That's fine.
Anything for us, bro.
Friends are friends, and I think
he wouldn't bring in philosophical ideologies when a friend calls and says, "Hey, save me."
So it's like it's already very clear that there are certain favorable candidates or favorable political parties behind Adani. Not getting more into that. So I think they'll easily be able to pull it off. But the question I think boils down to, when will they become too hot that even the Prime Minister or any political party or even their partners, banks, when will they start saying, okay, this is too hot, we have to stop dealing with them now? And that's where I think that point comes in.
So that's where I also think, who hasn't gotten hot enough, right? If you think about the Reliances of the world or Tatas of the world, I'm sure they've had also their dark past or histories or allegations and scams around them as well. Do you have anything to add there?
So I wanted to keep it very surface level here. So even as you said, Reliance, they've had a lot of allegations against them. Dhirubhai Ambani, even have you seen that movie? Guru. Guru, where he imports things and without paying import duty or letting the government know, he imports all of that, right? And it's part of the real life story of Mr. Dhirubhai Ambani. And even Tatas have a lot of allegations against them. The Tata tea scandal and the shooting inside a Tata steel factory scandal. So all of this are very serious, and you're right, I think, whenever you're looking at any of the corporates in India, the history has been whitewashed. Volkswagen used to be a company that used to manufacture cars for Hitler. If you do the Volkswagen logo and you turn it fast enough, it becomes a swastika. Have you seen that? Yeah.
Okay, crazy.
So Hitler was a person who asked Volkswagen to build the Beetle even because he wanted it to be a people's car, people's wagon. Hitler's company there. Even BMW, Benz, all of them having real ties to the Nazi regime. Does anyone remember it now? It's corporate whitewashing, and as you said, a few years, not even few years, maybe 50 years from now, nobody might even remember any of these scandals.
Like the Reliance of today, maybe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Adani might become an amazing, good institution, a company in India where people respect it, people conveniently forget whatever has happened in
and
the
celebrate it,
Yeah.
maybe. Today it looks so not possible today, but I'm sure if things fall in the right place, there is a future 50 years later where Adani also will successfully manage this PR nightmare that they're having. They'll solve all of these problems. There is a future there.
So I'm hearing lot of arguments from you guys, but still there is lot of mutual fund exposure into just Adani stocks, and there are investors who are panicking on that side, and there are also individual investors who are actually seeing this dip as an opportunity, because we've seen Adani falling 75% in 2022, then it bouncing back again 250%, and now it is again down 40%. So actually now people or investors who are interested in Adani are asking this question: okay, should we invest in mutual funds which have higher exposure of Adani? Is it safe? And individual investors who want to invest in Adani, what do you say?
No, so my personal take has always been to stay away from a company which is doing a lot of shady stuff. But I'm rethinking about the entire thing given our discussion around who is not doing shady stuff or who has not done shady stuff. So still keeping that, I've never actively directly invested into any Adani stocks. And I remember back in the days 2020, I used to do, like when I used to do active videos, I have done videos around Adani, and I used to get a lot of questions during my live sessions or in the comment section asking about should we invest into Adani companies. Adani Green very specifically back in the days used to hit upper circuits almost every single day. So my answer has always been, let's stay away from shady stuff. If we know it's shady, why to make money there by doing that? Because rather than making money, how you make money I think is very, very important. So that's something that I've always talked about. And also I've always seen this great trading opportunities in Adani, like you rightly said, right? It fell 75%, but in the next 1 year or so, it is back up by 100, 200%. So these are great trading opportunities. And PR Sundar has this like very famous video on how he bought S-Class
Yeah,
by
Maybach.
trading
Maybach.
only by trading Adani options. So interesting stories there. But yeah, personally, I've always stayed away. But moving on to mutual fund part of it, right? I know I have invested into multiple mutual funds who has Adani holdings. Yeah.
So even when you say you're not interested in Adani stocks, just take Quant's example. Nearly 10% of their asset is being put into Adani stocks today, or even higher. We don't know the exact latest number as of November 21st, right? So I think we'll all feel that pinch, but it might not be as much as we think. It will be manageable. People sitting there, they know what they're doing. But we can't fully say that, hey, we won't invest into Adani when all the mutual funds are doing it for us. Even if you put into a Nifty 50 fund, your fund is going to
exactly.
yeah.
Right.
And the stock is getting pumped up by all the
we're speaking about two of the largest companies in India. I mean, given that they are in Nifty 50, they have given phenomenal returns to its investors. So I think that's what matters at the end of the day.
Passively, we can't stay away from it. That's the point that I'm trying to say. Even if you invest in a junior 50, Nifty 50, you'll end up investing into Adani. Actively, do you want to stay away from it? Again, my opinion would also be similar. I would say we can all choose to conveniently ignore Adani at this time period.
So given all this, NIhaal, what do you think? What is exactly happening to Adani and what should investors of Adani do?
So to summarize all of this, I would say recently all the allegations that went on Adani were from private entities or some other non-legit resources. But this time it is actually coming from a legit source, SEC, coming from government. So these allegations can't be taken light. So I would still stay cautious there. But again, as a trader, if I'm interested and want to capture those moves, probably I would allocate 1 or 2% of my portfolio. I'll take a small hit there and probably
Party
invest. Party funds. And probably I would invest there. But as a long term, like you said, some whitewashing can happen or the stock can do well. But I would wait time to tell that if that works out well.